everyone, I am Catherine from Buggalena Embroidery Designs, and I want to welcome you to my sewing room and my YouTube tutorial. Today we are going to work on making these cute little Mickey and Minnie inspired bag tags. Now these are great for luggage, lunch boxes, casserole dishes, backpacks, any type of school-related things that children have to bring. They have an optional little hidden flap which has lines for name and info, so you can share the info you want to share, whether you want to share your phone number, address, or both. It's up to you. So without further ado, I am going to move over to the work table and we will work on learning how to make these adorable little bag tags. Okay, we're over at my work table now. Some things you're going to need are some vinyl. Today I'm using marine vinyl, and I'm using this vinyl. I purchased this from Punk Broidery. She calls it promo vinyl. It feels and looks just like marine vinyl, except for that it's definitely thinner and more pliable. It looks very similar on the backs and the fronts, but it's thinner. The great thing about it is not only is the color perfect, I'm not sure if you can tell how rich of a red this is. It's showing up pretty light in my phone screen, but it's actually a very nice rich red. Anyway, it's great for layering and doing in the hoop projects. You're going to need some tape and some scissors, whatever scissors you like to use, an X-Acto knife, and in this instance I'm using a colored bobbin thread, but that is absolutely completely optional. As you see here, this is where I cut out for my samples, but in your zip file you will have a PDF document that shows that you can print out and you can cut around it to insert into your bag tag. Little tip, if you have a laminating machine, it would be great if you could laminate them before you stick them in, and it'll just because that way they'll be even more durable. Of course, you probably really couldn't do that if you were selling them, unless they gave you the info for what they want to put on them. Anyway, let's see. Did I mention X-Acto knife, scissors? Yep. Okay. So I've hooped a sheet of tearaway stabilizer, and we are going to head over to my embroidery machine. Okay, I am going to put my hoop on. And you know what? I should share this with you. Somebody else shared this with me a long time ago. Always insert, if you have a multi-needle machine, make sure your screw is facing out. So that way when you're doing in the hoop projects that you have to remove your hoop, put it back on, you always know which way to face it to put your hoop back in, because it's very easy on a multi-needle to put your hoop in backwards. My single needle machine, I don't have that issue because it only goes in one way, but definitely with the multi you can put it in backwards. Okay, anyway, let me move forward. After you've loaded your design and picked your colors, the first thing it's going to stitch out is a placement stitch. The 5x7 has the placement stitch and everything all in one. Hoping you can see this. There's a lot of glare through my phone. But it has the strap and the bag tag all in one hooping. It is the exact same size as the 4x4, but the 4x4 you'll do it in 2 separate steps. So that way also if you have a bigger hoop than 5x7, you could make yourself up some hoopings by using the 4x4 single version. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stitch that placement stitch on right onto my tearaway stabilizer. Okay, my machine just finished stitching the placement stitches onto my hoop, so we're going to remove my hoop and take it over to the work table. And the next thing you want to do is we're going to find a small piece of red vinyl. I like to find the straightest line on my vinyl, line it up on the pocket placement, and then just move it just a hair above that, and then tape down a small piece of tape on each side. I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I have a small piece of vinyl taped down, very easy to do, and I'm going to run that back over to my machine and put my hoop back on and run the next stitch, which will be a stitch across the top of the pocket. You typically want to match that to whatever stitch you're using for your final stitch. In my case, I am using white. Okay, next it is going to stitch the, no, let it quit making noise for a second. Okay, next it's going to stitch the flap, where you can choose to cut it out or not, or you can skip this step entirely if you're planning on not using the flap opening. Okay, just finished stitching our flap opening. We're going to leave this in our hoop for now and go ahead and stitch the next stitch, step, which is the Mickey inspired little buttons for his shorts. Okay, as you can see, it just finished stitching the buttons, and at this point we're going to go ahead, remove the hoop, and we're going to do two quick little things. The first thing I like to do is take your X-Acto knife, and you're going to cut a line between these two sets of stitches all the way around. So I'm going to do that now. One sec. Okay, I just cut my flap open, and it's just basically cutting right through the layer of vinyl and your stabilizer. So I just cut through those, and there's your flap. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is turn your hoop over, and you are going to lay down one piece of black vinyl. Okay, this piece may be a little too small. Let me grab a different one. Okay, you're putting it face down on the back of your hoop and then taping it. Now, if you've watched my other videos, I am going to take a second and do my little silly crazy cutout. I like to cut this out before I do that, because what that does for me is when I go to finish my design, I have a lot less cleanup. I don't have to sit and tear out stabilizer. So I'm going to do that real quick with my X-Acto knife. Be right back. Okay, I just finished cutting out a little bit outside the ear placement line. I know it's silly, but oh boy, does it help with cleanup. And that's totally optional. If you have patience, you can definitely just continue stitching from there. So now I'm going to take my piece of vinyl, cover up that area, and I'm going to tape it down. One second. Okay, next you're going to take another piece of vinyl, and this one you're going to put face up. So that way the back of your design when we're all done will be nice and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that one down. Okay, I have my 2 pieces of vinyl taped to the back, and I'm going to return to my machine. And I apologize if you can hear my little grandson. He's upstairs fussing. Okay, my hoop is on my machine, and the next stitch it's going to do is the final outline around the Mickey inspired bag tag. Okay, the Mickey part is all done, so we're going to go ahead and remove our hoop real quick and bring that over to the table. And what we're going to want to do is take some scrap pieces of vinyl, and you're going to lay one face up covering that, and then one on the back. I'm going to go ahead and tape mine down, and then I will show you. Okay, so here is my hoop. I taped down a piece of vinyl face up on the top of my hoop and also face up on the back of my hoop. And then I'm just going to go ahead and return this to my machine and run the very last stitch. Okay, I'm back at my machine, and then I go and look, and I forgot there is one more little step to the Mickey inspired bag tag, and that's just gonna stitch and create the hole we're gonna cut out to put the strap through. So I'm gonna go ahead and stitch that one. And now we're on the final step. Sorry about that, guys. I hope you can still follow along, because okay, it is done stitching that final step, and we're going to just remove our hoop and go back over to the work area. And the next thing you want to do is take your X-Acto knife and cut out your square. I'm going to do that now. Okay, I just cut out my opening, and next I'm just going to unhoop my project, and I'm going to trim around both the Mickey bag tag and the strap. Okay, I just finished cutting around both of my pieces. If you left the stabilizer on, you would need to pull off that top stabilizer and clean that up anywhere you see stabilizer exposed. But because I did my little silly cutting, I didn't have any stabilizer on the top. So the next thing you want to do is go over to your cam snaps, and you're going to take your awl and you're going to punch 2 holes, one near the end of each one. I'm going to attempt to try to mount my camera where you can actually see that happen. Wasn't expecting me to show up here. Let's see if I can make this higher. Okay, that might work. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and punch a hole right here and right here. Then I'm going to insert a snap face up on one side. I'm hoping you can see this, and face down on the other side. So then you're going to take your, what are those called? I think my brain went to bed already. Socket and what? Okay, I don't remember. So therefore, when you go to snap, well, we'll want to snap it this way because this has our finished stitch. But first we're going to just insert one end into the opening. And that's all you need to do. Very easy. If any of you find you need a longer strap, just let me know. It'll just take me a few minutes and I can make you a longer one. It's not a problem. Then you'll want to cut out one of your... I hear someone creeping into my sewing room. You'll want to cut out one of these and just go ahead and slide that in. Very easy. Next up, I'm going to show you how to do the mini one. She has a slightly different step, so one moment and I'll get that set up. Okay, working on the mini inspired one now. The first step is to hoop your tearaway stabilizer. Second step is to take a piece of your red vinyl scrap and place that over, tape it down, then run the white stitch to hold that down. Next step is to run or stitch the red stitching for the flap opening. Now at this point I have removed my hoop and I have to cut it at this point. You can't wait on this one because there's no buttons or anything here. You're definitely going to want to cut this now because you're going to want your back black layer on before you stitch the bow. So I'm going to go ahead and cut mine out right now. Okay, I cut out the flap opening and then I'm going to go ahead and turn my hoop over, and at this point you can only add one piece of black face down, so the good side is facing your stabilizer. Only add one at this time because you want to stitch out the bow and you don't want to have the back of the bow stitches showing on the final outline. So I am going to actually turn my hoop over and I'm going to do my silly cutting, which is totally optional, and then I'm going to turn it over and tape that on. One moment. Okay, I quickly did my silly cutting and then I taped on my one piece of vinyl at this point. I'm going to bring this back to my machine and I'm going to stitch the next step, which is the bow. Okay, the bow just stitched and I removed my hoop from my machine. I'm going to turn it over at this point and add my next layer of vinyl face up over that one because we're just trying to hide those stitches. Okay, I have put it back on my machine. I'm about ready to run the white stitching around. This one does have an additional step. I will be right back with you after it stitches that and show you. Okay, it just finished stitching the white. Now this one I added an additional step, and that is going to add a black top and then the black opening for the strap to go into. So that is next. Okay, it just finished stitching the black. I'm hoping you can see that. From here on out, every step is the same as the Mickey inspired one. You're going to add your vinyl both sides to this, tape it, and run it. Just going back over here to look at my sample real quick. Now the reason I did that was, and then that way the shape of the mini stands out more than the tab to hold it. So I hope you like them. They are very easy to do. I can do one from start to finish in less than 10 minutes. So it's a great quick gift for someone. I hope you enjoy them. They will be listed on the website, which is www.buggalena.com. That's BUGGALENA.com. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy them.